Hey guys, it's Ashley. Today I'm going to film a get ready with me / story time. And I know I don't have like anything on my channel, but this is the beginning of a great thing. I think you're gonna really enjoy this, and it's definitely really strange. That's all I got. So to start off with today, I am going to like get ready through this, and what I want to do is I will talk about it, but everything I use in this, including the extensions I put in my hair, are going to be linked down below. So that way if you have any questions about what I'm using, what I'm doing, it's all gonna kind of have an answer, and I hope you guys enjoy this as kind of a first video other than my art videos. And I mean, let's get started, I guess. I have a mirror right below the camera, so if I look down while I'm talking, it's so I can actually get things in the right spot on my face, because everything's got to go in the right position, right? Yeah. I am going to throw in my contacts off camera quick and part and brush this beast before I put extensions in. Now that I totally got my hair parted and ready to go, I do have a half and half hairstyle, but this half of my head is shaved. So when I start doing it, you'll see how I do it a little differently. My hair is wet, and this is probably not the best way to put your extensions in, but this is how I do it because I have weird hair to where if I do it any differently, it's going to not lay correctly when my hair dries with the extensions. So this is the way I do it. This doesn't work for everyone. It might work for you, it might not work for you. But totally, if you guys want me to do a how I put my extensions in video, please let me know down below and I will film that for you, because I wear extensions almost every single day. Okay, scratch that. I wore extensions every single day for like the last month, except for the last 3 days, because I was giving my head a break so I could do this, film, and look pretty on camera. So, without further ado, let's get into this story about my hotel stay last weekend. So, I stay in motels fairly often because I do pictures and I travel a lot. And I've stayed in really nice motels, I've stayed in weird motels, I've stayed in sketchy motels. And it's just kind of whatever's cheapest at the time, that's where I'll stay. And this happened to be a little, I'll say it's Motel 6, that's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna say where it was because I'm so weirded out by everything that kind of went down. And so what happened was, I didn't get into town until probably 5 or 5:30. And the first thing I did was go check into the motel. So I knew for sure I'd have a place to stay, because I've ran into places that they overbook, something happens, and you're out of a motel for the night. It just happened to me within the last month, and it was totally okay. But it was also like really weird that it happened, because it doesn't happen that often that something happens when you get there, but it can. And so we booked a Motel 6 for the night, and we being my mom booked it for me because she's amazing. I totally thought I just pulled that out. My mom is amazing and she booked it for me. And I didn't think anything of it. I've stayed there before and it's never been this weird, I guess. So anyways, back to it. I got there, I checked in. He was training someone in, So I was like, okay, no big deal. I gave him time to check me in, and it went fairly quickly, except one big no about giving people hotel keys is that you don't say their room number, ever. It's actually against almost all motel protocols, and that's just a safety feature for the person who's staying in the motel in case someone's not so, I feel bad saying sketchy, but it's totally if someone sketchy is following them or following you and you're giving this person's room number out, it's totally not okay. It's not something they ever do. It's very few and far between. Actually, I've never had someone say my room number out loud. This was a first. And I didn't think much of it because there was really no one else in the lobby. So it wasn't such a big deal. It was a big deal, but it wasn't as big of a deal as it could have been if there was other people in the lobby. So protocol usually is that they switch you into another room just as a precaution, and they didn't do that. They just kept me in the same room. Once again, didn't think much of it. There was no one else in the room. Totally would have been fine. And I left. And I had to go photograph a show that night. So I went and I hung out at the venue. I photographed for the night. It was a great night, great people at the venue, great show. And it's like probably midnight when I leave there. Time for me to go back to the motel, go to bed, get up the next morning and, drive home. So what I do is I go back to the motel. I pull in, there's no other cars around me anywhere. I'm the only one really in the parking lot. I didn't see any people in their vehicles, nothing like that. And I'm just kind of sitting there, I'm gathering my couple things that I have to bring in the room. And this guy pulls up next to me, which I'm never really sketchy on people. I'm kind of one of those, unless you give me a reason not to like you, I'll like everyone. But this guy pulls up and he's just like sitting in his car and staring towards me. I'm like, okay, not really a big deal. People do this. Maybe he's not looking at me. Maybe he's looking at something around me. I don't know. But he's got his music blasting. And it's loud. And it's rap music. I'm not a fan of rap music. I do listen to some things occasionally, but it's very few, far between, and I don't listen to it that loud. And something about me is I listen to music really loud in my car. It's always blasting, but at this particular moment I happen to have my music turned down. And what happens is I'm just feeling kind of weird. I don't want to say he's like freaking me out because he's not really freaking me out at this point. He hasn't really done anything to make me think he has ill intentions, nothing. Besides, staring at me, but that's a given. And what I decided to do is I have my friend call me who I was texting. And I was like, I just feel weird walking in. I don't want to deal with this. And you want to just talk to me while I walk in so that I feel a little more comfortable. And he was totally fine with it. He called me. We were talking. I get out of my car and this guy just kind of goes, "Hey, do you have a lighter?" And at this point, I did have one in my backpack because honestly, I inherit them from my friends who smoke all the time. They always leave their lighters around me or they leave them laying somewhere and I grab them to give them back later and usually forget about them. So I'm like, yeah, no big deal. Like, here, you can keep this one. And he's like, oh, so you don't want to hang out? And I'm like, no. No, thank you. You can just keep this lighter, essentially. So I walk away and he's just kind of like still staring me down at this point. I think he's a little in awe that I wouldn't like chill with him, which I don't know what gave him any impression that I would have hung out with him, because I did. He's not someone I would hang out with. And I'm not saying it in like a bad way, I just mean he's just not someone I would hang out with. He's, I don't want to say sketchy, but he didn't give off a good vibe. So I'm like, no, I'm good, you know, like I leave, and my hotel key works in the outside doors at the hotel. I go in through that door, I go up to the second floor, and I go to check into the room, and I happen to be in room like 213, I think it was. So I go to put my key in the door, and it wouldn't work. But it just worked on the outside doors. If anyone can tell me why that's a factor, like why it would work on the outside doors but it wouldn't work on the inside doors, please tell me, because I am super confused. So I have to go downstairs, and it's the same guy who was training in a girl earlier. And I was just like, hey, my hotel key doesn't work. Can we fix this so I can get into my room and go lay down, because I'm super tired. Like, I didn't say that I'm still on the phone at this point, but I was super tired. I didn't want to be awake any longer. I just lost. I put extensions in somewhere wrong. Guess that's what happened when you do a story time, guys. I just noticed that too. But anyways, so he gets me a new room key. And mind you, at this point, I haven't checked Facebook in a few hours. I posted a couple pictures earlier in the night, but I posted them. I didn't check the notifications on Facebook. I didn't check friend requests, nothing. I get back to my room, still on the phone with my friend, and I start flipping through Facebook while I'm talking to him. And this guy who just gave me a new room key downstairs totally tried to add me on Facebook. And he, you know, a lot of hotel people are foreign, and I have nothing against that. It's totally fine. He didn't really speak English, and honestly, I didn't really think much of it because I've never had any weird experiences at hotels. I've always been fine and whatever, and it's never been bad. So I was just really weirded out, like, this guy must have taken my information off of my booking for the hotel and thought it was okay to add me on Facebook. We had no mutual friends. I've never seen this guy before in my life. Like, I don't even know how. He wasn't there the last time I stayed at the motel. Nothing. So I'm just super creeped out by this. I go to my hotel room and I like write it off, because what else can I do at this point? I'm staying here, I'm not leaving. I don't want to make a scene by like going back down and being like, what right do you think you have to add me on Facebook? Because that's not me. I'm really not a confrontational person. If you get in my face, like, I'll definitely get back in yours, but I don't purposely become confrontational unless you give me a reason to be. And I mean, as sketchy as it is, whatever. He doesn't really speak English. He's an older guy. Still super sketchy. Not gonna add you. Move on with my day. Well, I get back into my room. I go to turn on the heater and it doesn't work. So I'm like, I don't really want to go back down there because this guy really did creep me out to a point. So I'm like, I'm just gonna try and see if I can get it to work. I do everything. I lay down thinking maybe it'll turn on in like 10 minutes. Not really thinking about it anymore. And I must have fell asleep because it never did turn on. it was kind of, it was cold in the room, but it wasn't like unbearable cold in the room. So I just kind of let it go and fell asleep. But at like probably 2, 3 in the morning, I woke up out of a dead sleep, and it must have ran for a few minutes because I mean, it wasn't as cold as it was outside. So like, I don't know if I just wasn't good at making it run. I don't know. This is awesome. Totally stuck in my own hair right now. You could probably hear the ripping of my hair. Totally awesome. That really hurts. Now that I think I just ripped half my head of hair out, I got my hair tie out of there. Anyways, okay, back to my story. Cause like I said, it wasn't really like freezing cold, but it was cold. At this point, like, I had already slept for a while, so I'm not really worried about it anymore. But there's like loud, confrontational, like yelling almost. I don't even want to say yelling because it wasn't really yelling, but it was really loud. The people were being extremely like confrontational in the hallway. And like you could hear them like hitting the walls. And I'm assuming that at this point they're probably in the room next to me. I don't know if they're in the hallway. I thought they were in the hallway. I didn't really get up to check, and I didn't really I didn't record anything because I wasn't really awake at that point. It was just, it was super sketchy. These people were like arguing about a girl or something weird. And I just kind of went back to bed. Like at that point, there's really nothing else I can do. Let it go back to bed, not worry about it anymore. But it just like, it makes you think like, how often do people like deal with this in this motel? Like, is this motel always like this? Do people always have issues? Is this guy adding other people on Facebook without knowing who they are? Is he taking their information in any other way? Like, seriously, that's what freaks me out. Like, is this guy doing this on a weekly basis with other people? Does he think it's totally okay to add people like that and not give any reason? I don't know, people. Like, it was totally weird. Tell me your thoughts. Really, tell me your thoughts. Like, that is super weird to me. Like, I don't think it's okay. And that was my part. Get ready with me. And what I want to tell you guys, and I keep saying and I'm super sorry because my life's not together. I filmed this makeup look in another video because at the point that I finished my get ready with me story time about the motel, just putting in my extensions and like talking to the camera, even though I'm going to cut out some parts, it was like 20 minutes long, and I didn't want to make you guys suffer through another 20 minutes because I don't think anyone would like that in life. So I filmed this separately, and it's going to go up in a couple days after this, and I hope you guys totally thoroughly enjoyed all of this. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day, and I hope to start posting a lot more soon. Hit subscribe, tap the little bell next to it, and I'll have links for Twitter and Instagram down below. I have a photography Instagram, I have an art Instagram, and I have my personal Instagram. All three things are really fun. And then I have 2 Twitters, one for my photography and one for my personal. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I love you, and I said this twice now. Bye.